Hello, everyone. Nick Carter here, creator of the most useful trading tools on the planet. And today I'm going to be telling you about my favorite MetaTrader brokers. All of the things I'm about to talk about are just simply my opinion and my experience with these brokers. I am not receiving a commission for referring anyone to these brokers, and I recommend everyone do their own research and due diligence in order to determine which broker they would like to use. Now, let's get started. So here I have a list of things to consider when choosing a broker. These are the things that matter that you're going to want to review what each broker offers with regards to these categories and make up your mind which broker to use. The first thing to consider is going to be the spread, which, if you don't know, the spread is the difference between what you can buy an asset for and what you can sell it for. Um, the next thing that you want to consider is the swap. And the swap is basically how much interest are you going to be earning when you have your capital into different trades. The next thing that you're going to want to consider is tradable assets. Does the broker have cryptocurrencies? Do they have stocks? Do they have forex? Do they have energy? Do they have metals? Do they have indexes that you can trade? What are the tradable assets that the brokers have? You're definitely going to want to pick a broker that has the assets that you want to trade. The next thing that you're going to want to consider is how much leverage the broker allows. So how much can you leverage your capital with trades? Is it 50x, 100x, 500x, 1000x? How much leverage does the broker offer? You're going to want to consider their trustworthiness, as well as what regulations they're under and how are they regulated. How long have they been in business? Are they an unregulated broker? Are they regulated? If they are regulated, who regulates them and how strict are those regulations? You're going to want to consider whether the broker has MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 or just MetaTrader 4. Personally, MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 are very similar, so to me it doesn't really matter which one, but I know some people prefer one or the other, so just make sure that if you do uh, like MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5 better than the other, make sure that the broker has the platform that you would like to use. Of course, you're going to want to make sure that they will accept you as a client. Each broker has their own list of countries that they accept or do not accept their citizens. So you're going to want to make sure that your broker will accept citizens from the country that you're a citizen in. Also, customer support is going to be very important. How responsive are they? How helpful is the customer support? And you're also going to want to consider, with regards to withdrawals and deposits, how long are those going to take? What are the fees associated for those? And what methods can you use to deposit and withdraw? Cryptocurrency, PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, etc. So let's start taking a look at some of my favorite brokers and what they offer. The first one we're going to look at is IG. And IG, in my opinion, is the best United States broker, the best US regulated broker. Um, so we're just going to go over some pros and cons for them. They do accept US clients, of course. They're very trustworthy. If you're regulated by the United States, they're one of the toughest regulators in the world. So you can ensure that all of their accounting and so forth has been audited. And yeah, any U.S. regulated broker is going to be very trustworthy. They have excellent customer service that responds very quickly, speaks English very well, open 24/7, that kind of a thing. They have probably the best spreads of all the U.S. brokers. They've got great swaps. Their deposits and withdrawals are very fast, and there's little to no fees. Depending on your method of withdrawing and deposit, you can do no fees. There are some cons though, and these cons are pretty heavy. If you are in the United States, you can only trade currencies. You're not going to be able to trade cryptocurrencies or stocks or indexes, energies, metal, none of that. So if you're in the United States, IG is only going to let you trade Forex. They also have only 50x leverage, which is not really suitable for Forex scalping. You could scalp, cryptocurrencies or some assets that are more volatile. But 50x leverage, if you're scalping with very close stop losses, you're probably going to want to use more leverage than that. This next broker that I want to talk about is IC Markets. And IC Markets, in my opinion, is the best regulated broker that is outside of the US. So if you're in the USA, you're not going to be able to use this broker, unfortunately. But if you're located in pretty much any other country in the world, I think they have a few other than the US that they do not offer services to. But basically, if you're pretty much anywhere outside of the US, this is the broker that I like the most. They're very trustworthy. They're regulated by several different regulators across the world, just not the USA. They've got excellent customer service. Their spreads are good. Their swaps are good. They've got fast deposit and withdrawals, little to no fees. They offer very high leverage. They've got a ton of different assets that you can trade, cryptocurrencies and gold and oil and stocks and forex and everything. But the only drawback is that they do not accept U.S. citizens. The next broker that I want to talk about is N1CM, which stands for Number One Capital Markets. Number One Capital Markets is a regulated broker. They're just not regulated in the United States, so the United States government does not regulate them, but they are regulated. Um, so they do accept U.S. citizens. So to me, this is the best regulated broker that is accepting U.S. citizens. They've got great customer service, great spreads, swaps, fast withdrawals and deposits, all of that sort of thing. They also have a lot of different asset classes. Unfortunately, they only have five cryptos, but the top, cryptos that people trade, they've got on there. But yeah, they've got, gold and oil and stocks and indexes and all of that kind of stuff, which is great because it's hard to find a regulated broker that has a lot of different asset classes that does accept U.S. citizens. The only con is that they're limited to 50 to 1 leverage, which 50 to 1 leverage is going to be plenty good enough for most traders to do most things. The only thing that I would say that you would want some more leverage for would be if you're scalping forex on small time frames. But other than that, you should be good. I definitely think this is a good option to go with if you're in the US because it's not US regulated, but they're still taking US clients, which is great. So the next thing we're going to talk about is a group of brokers, and I've got a few of the brokers that are in this group listed here that you can do your own research about, and I'll let you know which one is my favorite. So these are non-regulated brokers. So most of these brokers are located in the Caribbean islands or something like that, where they are not required to be regulated and they are unregulated. I'm just going to go over some pros and cons here. One of the pros is that the majority of these will accept U.S. citizens because they're unregulated. There's no one to tell them, who they can and can't accept. A lot of the times they've got really good spreads and swaps, and they allow really high leverage, and they're going to have a ton of different assets that you can trade, cryptos and forex and stocks and so on. Most of the time they're going to have low commission or no commission. The only con, which it could potentially be a big con, is that some of these brokers could be sketchy. If you're unregulated and you don't have any government to answer to, what's to stop you from running off with all of your clients' deposits and not letting any of your clients withdraw their money? If there's no government to prevent that from happening, uh, things could get sketchy. Um, but what I would say is pick some established ones that have good reviews, and do your research online to figure out which ones have been around for a while, and people haven't had any problems withdrawing or depositing funds and that sort of a thing. Because if you're in the United States and you want to use high leverage and you want to trade assets, you want to trade your cryptos and your oils and your stocks and all of that. all in one place, you're pretty much going to have to go with a non-regulated broker, especially if you're trying to use MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5. So let's go over some of these brokers. The first one is Hugo's Way. That one is probably going to be my favorite. It comes highly recommended from a lot of influential traders. It's been around for a while. It seems like people are able to withdraw their funds pretty good. Most of the time, when I see bad reviews about Hugo's Way responded pretty quick with a reasonable answer. That's one thing, when you see negative reviews, look to see if that broker responded, how fast did they respond, and what did they have to say back to the person who was complaining, and was it reasonable? But Hugo's Way seems to be one of my favorites based on all of that. There's Prosperity FX, which is a newer one. I do like the everything that they have to offer. My only concern is that they're still pretty new. They haven't been around that long. There's Crypto Rocket, Eagle FX, and CoinX, which all of those are pretty good options from what I can tell so far. And those are pretty much, my opinions about some of the brokers that I think are the best in all of these different categories.